All right, beautiful souls, we are continuing on this how to not be triggered journey. And today we are talking about something that hopefully will illuminate a visual inside of you that will be with you for the rest of your life. When I first saw this and heard about this, it has literally sat with me since then because there was so much truth revealed, and now it pops in every time it needs to. And that is the concept of reacting from an unfinished past. Now, yesterday we talked about this single truth that one known solves everything, right? This realization that we are not our thoughts. And we looked at that in context of the equation. We have the external world, stuff that's happening, plus our internal response, and that is creating our reality. We kind of double clicked on the internal response and we said, okay, so what are my internal responses? Well, they're my thoughts, they're my emotions, they're the reactions that I have inside. And we talked about different examples about how, yeah, for sure, depending on your internal response, it makes a vastly different reality. But now when we layer on this notion of, well, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, it liberates us from having to actually carry out the reaction that occurs inside of us. We go, well, wait, let me create some space here. Let me actually look at what's happening, and maybe I want to make a different choice. Maybe I prefer not to get angry, or maybe I don't want to look at this from a victim mentality. Maybe I want to be empowered. Maybe I want to ask, how is this serving me? What is this challenge making possible? It opens up like a whole new doorway into a room that you didn't even know existed. But the problem is, most of us are not realizing that we are reacting day to day from our unfinished past. It is so automatic. It is so unconscious. It's like a groove that has been set. It's the personality we wear, right? It's just the way that we show up in life. People expect us to react a certain way because it's what we do. And we're not even conscious sometimes that we could have a different reaction. So I want to give you an analogy. I think this visual hopefully will stay with you as long as it stayed with me. So let's bounce over here. So I want you to think about a garden. All right, let's say you've just bought a house and the previous owners, they had a garden. Now, how do we know what's in the garden? We're only going to know what's planted in the garden when there's the right weather, right? Enough rain coming down. There's got to be enough sunshine coming so that these seeds are put in the right environment and they are able to do what? They're able to grow. They're able to sprout. They're able to become, whatever flower they were meant to become, or whatever weed they were meant to become. All right. There are seeds in the garden underneath, and the only way we know what is planted is by allowing for the right weather conditions to be met. Now, I want you to think about these seeds as your unfinished past. All right. Just like a garden, we don't see them until the right environment occurs. Then the unseen comes out. All right. But it does not come to light until the right weather pattern, the right person, the right circumstance moves in. All right. Others are not creating these seeds. The weather didn't create these seeds. The seeds were there. The weather just created the conditions for the seeds to be exposed. And what I want to offer you is that others are actually revealing to you what is living underneath the surface, your buttons, if you will, right? These little seeds. So if we look back and we come back to this garden and we look at it as ourselves now, okay, this is our unfinished past. And as we look at this, maybe we have some seed from our unfinished past of feeling like I am not enough. And now let's say the weather that has entered your world is that you're at work and a colleague of yours gets promoted. And so they come over to you and they are just gushing. They've just talked to the boss. They can't believe, they're now going to be able to take on this new role. They're moving to this new location. The pay is going to be better. The benefits are better. They just are so ecstatic. They're going to be able to travel. I mean, it's just everything they could ever possibly want. All right. The truth of the matter is your colleague is just excited. But now you, not realizing that you got this little seed in here, right? not realizing that this seed is planted, all of a sudden you start to get irritated. Okay, there's like a little irritation that comes, and you're like, gosh, they're so annoying. You know, they just are so conceited. They just think the best of themselves. Like, this is absolutely obnoxious. And your mind starts to blame the other person. Why do they always want attention? Why are they always showing off? Why are they always bragging? You know? And you're thinking that the reason you're feeling all of these things is because that person is doing what they're doing. You're blaming them. And, you know, to the untrained eye, it would appear like, well, I was fine. And then this person came in with all this news and now I'm not fine. And it's because of them. It's because of the news. It's because of what they're sharing. But what I want to offer you is to say, okay, what you're not realizing is that you, my friend, are actually the problem. It's your unfinished past here that is the problem. So because we don't know this, most of the time we spend our energy trying to change the other people, right? That's like trying to control the weather. So we start to think things like, you know, I wish they were different. I wish they wouldn't show off. I'm going to train them. I'm going to let them know, you know, it's not a good look for you to kind of be bragging like this. It's just, you might want to tone it down a little bit, right? It's not a good look for you. People are going to notice, like, you're rubbing people the wrong way. And so all of our energy is apparently now going external to start to control the weather or try and make this person be a different way so that we feel okay. All right, our energy is going into adjusting the weather instead of dealing with the seed. And what I want you to realize is that really, you being triggered by this is actually an opportunity. It is an opportunity for you to go within and go, why am I agitated? You know, why am I feeling so annoyed by this person? Why can't I just be happy for them? You know, this has nothing to do with me. And if we allow it, all right, we can take the moments where we are triggered and we can go, what is this really about? Like, why am I having this discomfort in my chest when this person is telling me about their promotion? Like, what is it inside of me that's not okay with this? I should just be happy for them. It has nothing to do with me. And if we really create space and realize I am not my thoughts, number one, right? And this internal reaction that I'm having is actually making me a little anxious and annoyed. And I'm, you know, trying to change them, which is crazy, like trying to change the weather. Why don't I look at my internal response? Why don't I try and change that? Why don't I try and shed light on, well, what is actually being disturbed? And then it's not going to automatically come to you, right? But as you start to question this, you might start to see, wow, this is me feeling like, well, what about me? Am I not good enough? Like, why didn't I get this promotion? You know, I thought that our work was pretty equal. What is the reason for this? And we start to maybe think about times in our life where we've also been passed over for things or we've not been seen, and it has caused us to feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough right now. And that, my friends, is what's called your internal karma. This is what you are here to deal with in this life. And without the right weather patterns, we would never know what our seeds are. And so the reality is, whenever we are triggered, this is an amazing teaching moment. This is an amazing time for us to be able to go, wow, what is actually inside of me that is unresolved, undigested from my past? Maybe things that I didn't even realize I was carrying. That now, thankfully, because of these circumstances, because of what this person said or did or whatever happened, now I'm able to see that this is inside of me. All right, this is so powerful. And they say that souls come together to create the weather patterns for one another, to reveal these things inside of one another. And our loved ones do this most often, don't they? They are the weather that is inside of our garden most often. And it can kind of hurt. But can you see the potential that this is like the greatest gift? That the person that is triggering you the most, The person that is in your garden most often is actually revealing where you need to grow. And without them, you would never have known, right? You would have never been able to do this inner work. You would never have had this awareness, right? Isn't that interesting? So I want you to stop for a moment, like contemplate, really close your eyes, as long as you're not driving, and really sit with this. Do you see how often we are acting from our unfinished past versus our current reality? I want you to think about that. Now, bring into mind something that has triggered you, right? There's a reason you opted into this journey. There's a reason you said, yes, I need this. Maybe it is a family member that makes certain comments at family gatherings, right? And you get triggered. Or maybe it is that you feel like your voice is never heard, right, at these family gatherings and no one's ever listening. You get talked over, whatever it is, right? There are dynamics that are happening. And once you start to see this, it is amazing what's unveiled. Like something as simple as, let's say you've asked your kids to do the dishes, right? You're going out, maybe you're going to work, whatever's happening, and you said, hey, over the next few hours, just between whatever you're doing, can you clean up the kitchen? Can you put the dishes away? And they're like, yeah, sure. So you leave, you have a great time, you come back to the house, and the dishes aren't done. And you walk into the room and you ask your kids, like, well, why didn't you do the dishes? And it comes out with a little bit of emotion behind it, right? Because you're feeling a little upset. What is the seed that's in there that's probably getting pressed, right? The button that's being pressed here. Nobody respects me. Nobody listens to me, all right? And so you're coming into the situation a little charged because, again, they didn't listen. Again, they didn't do the thing I asked them. And so when you say this, hey, why didn't the dishes get done? It doesn't come out neutrally, all right? And so you ask, and your child responds with, why do you always got to tell me what to do, right? They start exploding. Why? Well, you've now created weather in their garden, right? They created the weather pattern of the dishes didn't get done, right? And now what's that triggered inside of you? What seed is starting to sprout? I'm not respected. No one listens to me. And now you go into them with a little bit of attitude, like, why didn't you do the thing I told you to do? You've had 5 hours to do it. Why isn't it done? Like, you're playing video games. Like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, you've created weather in their garden. And so what gets triggered in them? Maybe control. Like, maybe they have an issue with not wanting to be controlled. And now you're coming in seemingly telling them what to do. And they're like, blow up. And all of a sudden now, there's a screaming match that has ensued. You're grounded. This is that, that's that, whatever's going on. And if we step back for a moment, can you see how no one's really reacting with the current reality? It's like, yeah, mom and kid are there, but you've also got the mom's past there and the kid's past, where I'm always being controlled. No one's ever listening to me. That's really what's playing out in this dynamic. And so there's like 4 things, 4 people in this dynamic, all right? Current and past of each. And this is what is happening in your life. And so I just want to offer you to see that in your current interactions, in your day-to-day, can you see how this is occurring? How you're actually responding in a way that is from an unfinished, unresolved belief or emotion that is residing inside of you. And what I want you to walk away with is when you are triggered, when this thing sprouts up, when that seed, comes out full force, it grows into a weed or a flower, whatever visual you want to have, right? But it grows. And you know what I'm talking about. That surge of anger, that surge of upset, that whatever it is. This is a moment where now that you know, well, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotion, right? And we're using this intention, I am witness to my thoughts and emotion. Now that you are witness to this and you go, that's coming, well, now you're going to make the choice. Do I actually react like this, or do I calm that down and neutrally try and figure out what's going on? And then when you have the time, and in the exact moment, sometimes it's hard to do it. The emotion is very intense, but when you can create some space and you can cool off a little, you can ask yourself, like, what was that? What got triggered inside of me? What was revealed? What have I been holding on to? What belief system, what patterned way of being do I have that is causing me to show up in this way? Because it's unconscious and it's automatic and it's just happening. And so I want you to use these moments where you are getting triggered as teaching moments. These are beautiful spiritual lessons for you to be able to realize, right, what is holding you back, what is weighing you down. And the truth of the matter is, right, everything is energy. And so these seeds that you're holding on to, I'm not enough, no one respects me, right? There's an energy there, and you're actually going to keep drawing in events that are going to validate this, right? They are the same frequency as this. They're going to keep coming in, and it's going to be like, yeah, here we go again. No, they're not listening to me again. Here we go again, right? And the reality is, life is trying to create the weather for you again and again and again so that you can see this seed. And the moment you see it, you can start to resolve it. Sometimes just the light of awareness coming onto it dissolves it. Other times, you need to go a little deeper, and we'll talk about that. But once you're able to dissolve that and release that, because it's no longer serving you, right? Now, you're not holding that frequency. Now, you've passed the test. Now, you are going to be able to not be triggered by those things any longer. You are going to be liberated from them. So I hope that this resonates with you. I hope this puts a picture in your mind that the next time something happens, the next family event, whatever dynamic unfolds, you can kind of smile to yourself and go, whoop, there's my weed, right? There's this seed of mine that's getting triggered. And then find the time to contemplate, well, what is that really? What's living down there?